Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Marta's Magical Mystery Class, and this is our 5th session on editing your novel. Okay, so far we've been talking about all right, the draft is done. What do you do now? You read through it. You take a look and see if, based on everything you know at that point, do you have everything you need? Is it in the order you want it in? And now, in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not the information in the novel all comes from the places it needs to. Okay? This is a little different way to think about point of view. That's like first person, second person, third person. But it's also kind of thinking in terms of, say you're in third person narration, which is the author, the author of the book, describing everything as happening to your characters. You're not embedded in the I voice of any of your characters. That would be the first person voice. That third person voice is a little more distanced. But that third person voice, especially in a mystery, often sticks pretty close to one person in the narrative. That person's usually our detective or our sleuther, we say, our amateur detective in a cozy mystery. But that's not always the case either. There are plenty of mysteries where we're with the killer part of the time. Plenty of mysteries where we see things from a point of view that moves around. Okay? So that's really what I want to talk to you about here. In a mystery, and why do I have 2 YouTube channels, one for mystery, one for science fiction? Well, this episode is one of the reasons that I have 2 separate channels, because in any story, it's important to know who we're getting information from in the narrative. We want to know how reliable that person is, what the relationship is between the people who are exchanging the information that we're kind of overhearing. We want to know all those things because it changes how we receive that information. In a mystery, who gives the information to whom at what point is critical, because one of the kind of classic dodges in a mystery is that your chattiest suspect might just be your killer. Because somebody who is happy to cast suspicion on everybody else usually has something to hide. So if you've created a mystery where you've got a very chatty suspect who's sharing a lot of information about everybody else, and that person is not your killer, that can be a fun red herring, but you need to make sure you're handling that intentionally. Okay? The flip side of it is, if you have not read deeply enough in genre and you have a very chatty person in the book who's giving a lot of information, you may think that this person is above suspicion in some way, because they are very kind, or because they occupy a space in the novel that would make them appear to be above reproach, or because they have a job in a helping profession that makes them seem like, of course, they would be doing this for you. No, you need to know that having somebody who's just kind of handing out, if you've got sort of one primary source for all the clues and you didn't think that person was a suspect, no, that in contemporary mysteries, that's one of the best ways to mark somebody as a suspect. So if that's what's going on in your book, you need to rethink that. Hopefully, what's happening in your story is, as that information moves around, the information that your readers need comes to them from a source they will mostly trust. the information that you're using as a red herring, the information that you're using to throw your readers off, should come from a source that your readers are going to know to be somewhat suspicious of. And of course, depending on how open you've been about who the killer is through the book, because sometimes a book is more about how and why a thing gets done than who. That's the case in my own novels. But in the main, most mysteries, most thrillers, there's some element of mystery around who our primary villain is. Okay? So something that's all things to bear in mind, that it's important to know in your novel, it's important to decide where you want all of that revelatory information to come from, to make sure that it's coming to your readers either from mostly trustworthy or mostly suspicious sources, so that the information gets treated appropriately, so that your readers don't feel wrong-footed if you as an author have not been careful about matching up credible information with credible characters. Okay? So that's what I have to say this time. That is your job for the next couple of weeks, to go back through the book, figure out, all right, you have all the plot pieces, you have all the things that need to happen. Does the information in the novel move around in a way that is going to be satisfying to your readers rather than frustrating? All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.